After graduating from the University of Alabama with a degree in English and creative writing, the American writer Catherine Stockett, who grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, moved to New York City where she spent almost 9 years of her life in working in magazine publishing and marketing. In 2009, she published her first novel, which had been rejected by 60 publishers, and then climbed the bestseller charts in a few months after its first publication. The story is set in the United States of the 60s, a country characterized by institutional racial segregation. Despite the fact that white people and the black ones shared the land where they lived in, they were divided in many aspects of their lives. In fact, black people could not use the same toilets of the white ones, who were scared of the spreading of diseases. Black people were required to occupy the seats at the back of the buses. Black and white children were not allowed to attend the same schools, and even the book they studied on had to be different. Right in this context, Stockett's book is enshrined, due to the fact that it deals with racial discrimination in the United States. The book is divided into 34 chapters, which are told by the three protagonists, Evelyn and Minnie, two black maids, and Miss Keither, a white young woman. Thanks to the balance of the three figures within the book, it is possible to look at the situation of the 60s as a whole, both by the internal point of view of the two maids and the external one of Miss Keither. The first and the last chapters of the book, which has a circular structure, are told by Evelyn. The equilibrium between the white and black people of Jackson, Mississippi, breaks when Miss Keither and Evelyn decide to write a book, which deals with the experiences of the black maids in the white families. In fact, the publication of the book would mark the realization of Miss Keither's dream to work at Harper & Row Publishing House, while for Evelyn and the all-black American population, it would represent the turning point towards the recognition of their rights. The novel also depicts a clear image of the woman of the 1960s. On the one hand, there are the so-called white women, whose destiny has already been decided by their parents. When they grow up, they're going to get married and have children they're not going to raise. On the other, there are the black women, whose main occupation is taking care of the family they do not belong to. In addition, they are the victim of the abuses of both their employers and families. These two figures are perfectly embodied both by Miss Nifelt and Minnie. Evelyn is one of the predominant figures both in the novel and in its movie. She's a black maid who has brought up 17 white children and who has lost her young child. It is the desire of her child to write a book on the experiences of the black people that compelled Evelyn to ask to Miss Keither to write a book. In the movie, she is the only narrator. Also, she eclipses the figure of her best friend Minnie, who in the book is as important as Evelyn is. The novel also highlights the way in which Evelyn brings up white children, trying to combat stereotypes. The movie does not outline Evelyn and May Mobley's mother-daughter relationship. Also, it does not mention her desire to make May Mobley a woman who is not influenced by prejudices, stereotypes, and cliches. In the novel, the figure of Evelyn runs parallel to that of another maid, Minnie, who in the movie plays a minor role. Initially, Minnie worked for the Alberts, one of the most influential families of Jackson's social life. Due to the violation of one of the main rules of the Alberts, Miss Haley fires her. This pushes her to join Evelyn and Miss Keither in the writing of the book. Unfortunately, the movie does not show how controversial this character is. Minnie has two personalities at the same time, depending on if she is confronting herself with her employers or the black community. On the one hand, her attitude is impertinent and aggressive, so as to be respected despite the rules of the 1960s. On the other, when she is within her community or her family, her personality changes radically, becoming more placid and even submissive, as demonstrated by the absence of reactions to the violence suffered by her husband. Furthermore, the movie does not focus on her relationship, which is very close to a friendship, with her new employer, Food. Unlike all the other female characters, she is not influenced by prejudices, and she is open to new. A character which is strictly linked to those mentioned above is that of Miss Kidder, a young ambitious woman who wants to be the representative of the change. From the very beginning, both of the movie and the novel, it is evident that Miss Kidder wants to escape the destiny all of her friends fulfilled, demonstrated by the fact that after graduating at the Old Miss, she wants to find a job. For this reason, and due to her open-mindedness towards the Black community, Miss Kidder embodies the theme of alienation. She finds herself marginalized by her community, and hence she decides to write a book. The character of Miss Kidder can also be compared to that of Mae Mobley. Both of them are unconventional beauty models, and both of them have a close relationship with the women who brought them up. Constantine and Evelyn taught them how to love themselves for what they are, and not to accept prejudices. Another fundamental character, both in the book and in the movie, is the writing. The writing as a way to denounce all the abuses the Black population have suffered, and the will to trigger a radical change in a conservative society, such as that of the South. Another important element is that it is only thanks to Miss Kidder that Evelyn and all the other maids could voice their thoughts and publish the book. Furthermore, the fact that the book could not be published in the 1960s due to the censorship adds an element of autobiography to the book and the movie, seeing that both Catherine Stockett and the movie director, Tate Taylor, were born and raised in Mississippi. As childhood friends, they have shared and experienced the facts narrated in the book and in the movie. They were both brought up by Black maids, a factor that allowed them to give an objective picture of the situation. The film adaptation of The Help mirrors almost completely the plot of the novel, however some scenes have been cut without undermining the possibility to understand the story. In fact, in the movie, it is Miss Kidder that decides to write the book instead of Evelyn, and it is her mother that reveals Miss Kidder that Constantine has died. Nevertheless, in my opinion, in the process of adapting the book, some significant scenes have been cut, such as that in which Mae Mobley's father sees her telling his brother the secret story of Evelyn. The tribal point of view on the story makes the reading of the novel more absorbing. Furthermore, although she did not live in that particular historical period, the writer managed to render in greater detail the numerous facets and all the central elements of that controversial historical period, conveying an original portrait of racial discrimination. The main reason why I chose this book is that it narrates genuinely the themes of friendship and racial discrimination. Moreover, although it is set in the 1960s, it provides some valuable food for thoughts on today's society, a society for which the acceptance of diversity is still a problem.